certificate of appreciation. Madam, please accept.
Almost all fields of law, especially in Mahila.
So on this note, I should appreciate the Guru Nanak College, the institution. Respected principal and all the faculties who have known me, and especially my dear Mahalakshmi, who got connected to me and wanted me to be in this conclave as such. It's a privilege for me to get connected. And the topic assigned to me today is the social status and the legal rights of women in India. So I have, it's on trot. One thing I appreciate, I've been given the session exactly the time I have to start. So I have 45 minutes at my disposal. So we can have a little bit time for Q&A. So when I have to finish by 11, then we can have a 35 minutes or 40-minute session. If I cross it, somebody has to warn me. Then we will have a Q&A. Anyone who is willing to do the questioning can use it, the chat or the live, as you prefer as such. We are going to talk something of women. I see most of the participants there might be students or the faculty or any friend of us. Most of them are women. But I would have appreciated if much more men would have joined in this session to know what we are as such. Anyhow, we have more than 70 people connected here now. The status of women, the rights of women, it's been discussed in very many platforms. Even as the introduction spoke, the speaker spoke that I have been part of Guru Nanak. I have done the physical sessions for your college, have been invited by your college. The women of today, because we have to deal about the women of today. Many used to ask me, as a lawyer, why at all you should go through so many provisions of law particular to women and children? I see so many legislations. As a lay person, we will not be understanding why there is a need for so many legislations in our country pertaining to women and children. I would like to say the international conventions and the Indian constitutions have been reiterating the gender related rights in a subtle manner right from the inception. India, of course, is a place, even though there is a grave incident in 2012 of Nirbhaya, India is a much safer place compared to many of the states in the whole world, the countries of the world. Of course, it's a safe place. We have had instances of women being targeted. Looking at the volume of the population of this country, looking at the length and breadth of this country, if you go through the four corners of our country, look at the diversity which we possess. In spite of that, we have had a very good system, very good democracies that has been functioned when many of the neighbor countries couldn't have proper democracy. So India is a sovereign socialist democratic republic, we all know. And in this democracy, right of equality is reiterated on our Indian constitution. In spite of equality being spoken in Article 15, Clause 3 of the Indian Constitution, gives the power to enact new legislation or to amend or to have a change in the existing ones. And of course, India is a member state of the United Nations. India being part of very many conventions of the United Nations, and India had ratified two of the conventions, which is very pertinent to note here. One in the year 1992, one in the year 1993. In fact, India ratifies. In fact, initially they were not the signatory, they ratifies. The one convention relating to women is in the year 1993 and 92 related to child rights. I link child rights because there is a girl child involved. When we speak women, women of all age gets involved here. The Convention of CEDAW, Convention to Eliminate All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the convention has given the route or the place where the policy decisions of the state and the central government consecutively have been for the benefit of women and children. In spite of elections coming in spite of the general elections that was being called, but the policy of the government pertaining to the benefit of women and children will continue to go because it's based on the international convention. Many of these policies have been enumerated in the system, in the democratical system of a country. So the law is there. Law says women are equal partners. Equal rights are given to them. Equal status is given to them. The international conventions makes sure that each and every member state follows it. But what is the reality? There are so many laws. If it had been a physical session, I would have posted the question and I would have been giving each one the prize for telling what are the legislations we have, and every one of you might not be knowing the whole set of legislations. At least as citizens of this country, as women, you would have had an idea what are the legislations. And today we have to look how women travel. Where are the places women occupy more? What was the predominant position of women held in the society erstwhile ages and the present age? Here now we speak of too much of freedom for women. But little more, few centuries back, it wasn't so. But initially, when human race started to live in, when the civilizations were coming in force, women were equal to men. In fact, women were the rulers at a point of time. But after time passed by, some way the women folk lost the power. And they had so many social evils, I might call. In India, even during the British India, we had child marriages, widows, not permitted to have any property, not permitted to remarry. The sati, once your husband dies, you have to jump in the fire. That too, the princess used to do it, the queens used to do it. They are also not spared. So there wasn't much of a property right. They were not given education. They were not treated like a other gender, the male predominant gender, the male gender. Now we are talking about three gender policy. The Honorable Supreme Court in the year 2014 has, in a famous judgment, given the right for the third gender. So when we speak of gender sensitization, it is not going to be the male and the female gender we are going to focus. We have to look into consideration in all our life or presentations, all walks of life, the third gender, namely the transgender, or the LGBTIQ community as a whole, they put it. So in all these gender, right now the third gender or the transgenders face lots of issues. But that doesn't mean the women do not face an issue in spite of so many legislation. The problem is it's not the legislation. It's not the law that is lacking. As a lawyer, as a woman, I know we have lots and lots of legislations, the policy decisions, and lots of system in this country to protect us. I again reiterate, it's an international forum. India is a safe place. We have had instances. We have instances, the national level, the national capital faced a situation that everybody was on the streets fighting for a cause of a woman. Now we know her name is Jyoti Singh. The offenders have seen the gallows. In spite of that, I assure, the ratio of the crimes, the reported crimes at least, compared to the population is not as voluminous as we assume. But in spite of that, the status of women and the law giving the protection doesn't have the equibalence. What I like to convey is that in law, the legal arena, on paper, women have so many legislations to support them, but literally the society, the social concept has to have a drastic change. The very first legislation, apart from the Constitution of Article 15 Clause 3 or the International Convention, we had in the year 1961 the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 and the Maternity Benefit Act 1961, two of the legislation, one for the working women and one for the women, married women who was facing a problem by way of dowry. And we had so many other legislations, changes in the Indian Penal Code. The major change was in the year 1983, 498, capital A in the Indian Penal Code, speaking about an offense of cruelty by the husband and relatives of women, including the dowry harassment. And we have in the year 1986, 304B again of the Indian Penal Code about speaking about the dowry deaths. We have laws to prevent indecent representation of women, or the Immoral Trafficking Act, which prohibits immoral trafficking, kidnapping and selling women for illegal purpose, mainly for prostitution, the young girls and women. Later in the year, as I told, in the year 1983, the CEDAW Convention India ratifies, and then after that, lots and lots of legislation pertaining to women and children in our country. Women travel in 3 areas. Predominantly, I posted women travel. I do not mean by the travel which we do outside our home. I mean the travel in life women do day in and day out. Every woman today, predominantly we stay in the domestic front in our home, and we of course go in outside for our education institutions or our working place, corporates or anywhere else. So women travel outside and do visit the public arena. So every place where women has to visit for her living, her day-to-day life, she has to have some kind of protection. So the year 2005, we have a law to protect women from domestic violence. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 was a predominant legislation along with the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, and these two combined help the women in the domestic arena. And again, women start traveling to work. Now we have a law to say about equal remuneration. 1976 Act says everybody are equal when it comes for work. The Constitution has given power irrespective of your status or gender or anything. You are equal when you come into working area. You have a Equal Remuneration Act, you have a Maternity Benefit Act, you have certain changes in the Factories Act. The predominant one recently in the year 2013, a judgment which was given in the year 1997 by the Honorable Supreme Court in Visakha was the state of Rajasthan. That has become a law now in 2013 to prevent, prohibit and redress the sexual harassment happening at the workplace for women. And of course, the gender law. Nirbhaya lost her life. That was very unfortunate. But because of her incident, we had a commission, Honorable Justice Verma's commission, which sat and deliberated and got us so many changes in the Indian Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code, the Evidence Act, and the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. We have so many legislations. There's somebody in the audience having a telepathy conversation with me, not one or two, many. Yes, madam, we have so many legislations. Then why it is the status of women not as we aspire for or as we think? We are changing. Change is inevitable. But we are not changing in the pace as the law is changing. What is the society? What is the basic unit of a society? Yes, family is the basic unit of a society. Without family, the society will not be as we are. It will be anarchic. And women spend predominantly their time in the families. And this basic unit, the family, how do we treat our women? How do we treat our women in our families? The basic unit of a society. That is reflected in the society. The institution of marriage has kept this unit, the basic unit family intact. In spite of everything being rosy, women being kept on the pedestal in very many arenas, but when it comes to family, the power of women in a family is curtailed. It is painful to say women do not enjoy the power she ought to have or the equal status she ought to have. The society of ours is to be taking in a little blame for that, not treating our children, the gender difference is being predominantly spoken even at an young age. That has to have a drastic change. If your status has to improve in the society, every family has to look into the inevitable change of looking women the equal footing, equal platform with the other gender. This is the major drawback. The women and the men in the family do not have an equal status. The child, the girl child and the boy child do have their own differences. Not the outsiders. It is a home. Wherever I go in for sessions, I request each and every one of us here are part of the society. So we have to understand that we are part of this mega society and we have to see to that the society goes in a much better manner. So we have to see that our family is intact and the children in the family, irrespective of gender, at least the next generation should have the empathetical approach towards the women which we are lacking today. Neither the old generation nor the middle age like us, we are not what we should be. I do not want to accuse only the other gender for this. It's predominantly the elder women in the family also feel this is the way women has to. There was a woman who was a very top official. She had invited me to her home one day. She was a who is who in the city of Chennai, where I predominantly live in. She was such a big top official. Her professional profile runs to pages. But when I went home, I could see her in-laws, so many men there. I've always seen her in a different attire as such, very tough. But when I went to her home, after some time, she went for a change, a wash, and she came in outside, and she had a changeover. I was just looking at that scenario there. She was just doing her home duty like any other women who didn't have that kind of power would do it. I was taken aback. I was not married at that point of time, but it was really difficult to digest such a powerful woman. When she comes back to her home, she has to be herself. No, she cannot be herself. What is the herself we see outside is not there in the home. That is the major drawback. That is the major drawback for the growth of the women. The laws are not able to do. I do not accuse men for this. People will mistake me sometime. I'm going to accuse the other gender. No. Many times I see the fathers support the daughters and not the mothers. If a daughter wants to do a study, the father will come forward, I will come. Yesterday there was a father with me and a daughter who wants to study law. They had come to meet me. The mother was a little reluctant to send her to a far-off college. So I was convincing them, it's a safer place, you can send your daughter. They were telling she's never ventured outside because she went always in a vehicle, it was protective life. I told I too lived a life of that sort. In fact, I still now live a life of that sort when there is a chauffeur along with me. So the society is not always that one gender is predominantly dominated by the other gender. No, that's a misnomer. That's definitely not going to be the reality. What we have to do to the women to utilize these legislation, there are so many laws, so many legislations in our country which speaks about there are somebody on the chat box. I was not able to read the chat message. Maybe I'll take your messages or your questions after my session. I do accept whatever is your perspective. I do not deny it right now. Let me finish. It's 10 minutes. Then I'll be with you. Okay. Whatever said and done, the laws are very much dominant, prevalent in our country. The example I told, what the lady told was she couldn't even have a liberty to have a leg on top of one more leg. Generally in villages, a woman, how much educated, that is a respect for the elders we do. I do not deny that kind of respect. Even in a home, you are not supposed to have your leg, one leg on the other. That is supposed to be denied, even for educated women. It's still there. I've seen in very many villages myself, irrespective of your education or your work background or your earning, still you have to follow certain systems. There comes the inequality, unequal balance in the society. Will law satisfy that? Will law patch in there? Will law jump to the no, their law doesn't have a say. Where do law comes in? When there is a mistake, when there is a crime being committed, when there is a civil or criminal wrong being done, then the law comes in. These are the societal instincts of the people that has to go in a change. The social status has to improve for the women. The empathetical approach towards the women gender or the transgender has to be much more. A man has to look into the women and the trans person. A woman has to look in the trans person. Like that, one gender is comparatively lesser to the other gender. That concept has to have a drastic change in our society. Including Adilakshmi, who sits in this auditorium or the platform. This is an online platform. Any woman would have faced one sort of harassment in their life. Either it might be an teasing, either might be in their home, friend, where they have to be adjusting to everything. Maybe the previous speaker was telling about stress. Many women find stresses in their lives as such. Law will take its own course, but the life to be lived to the fullest have to be lived with only the family's support. If your family doesn't support, the breakage already starts, the damage is already being done. So any women who comes out should have a family support. It's very difficult in our society to have a family support. In fact, the laws are custom made in our country to support all kinds of women. Look at the domestic violence. Look at the violence or the sexual harassment happening in your workplace. Look into the gender laws, the sexual harassment, acid attack, or the voyeurism, stalking, or kidnapping, or rape. The law has have a transformation. Today we have a much more transformation in the legislative setup. Laws have changed. It is women friendly. Previously, the world was a police state. What do you mean by a police state? The rulers were dominant and the rule makers or the rules themselves ruled the world. That is, you have to abide by particular rule. And now it is a welfare state where the people's welfare have to be taken in irrespective of capitalist or communist or any sort of government we are in. We have to look into the welfare of the last man. Then only any polity will run smoothly. Without any welfare legislation, it's not easy to run a polity today. Previously, our criminal justice system spoke in the direction of anyone, still we say that way, anyone is not guilty unless he is proved to be one. Today, because of the social beneficial legislative system coming in, all the women and children law coming in, the burden of proof lies on the accused. Maybe this is a technical word for few of you to understand. Previously, the prosecutor, the person who is affected has to prove on behalf of the victim, the prosecutor has to prove that she has faced this difficulty. Today, in Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act or any other law pertaining to women, the burden has shifted to the accused. The women can come and say, the affected women can come, the aggrieved can come and say, I'm affected. Let the other side prove that he didn't do that guilt. So that's a difficult situation, right? I didn't commit this crime. I wasn't there present. I'm a person who's from a decent background, have never done all these things. That's a very difficult thing for them to prove. So the law, the Domestic Violence Act, or the women at workplace who are protected for sexual harassment. Previously, the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? When there is an issue for a woman, when there is a problem for a woman, where will the women go? Every woman will know only the all women's police station pertaining to their jurisdiction, right? Today, the laws have different stakeholders coming inside. There is a protection officer whom you have to approach under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. Every protection officer is being deputed to every district. Every district has a protection officer, a women protection officer who have master of social work to her credit or a log to her credit, and she is being appointed by the government, and she has her office under the district collector, the social welfare department, where she takes in the petitions from the women or affected women or anyone on her behalf, and she, the protection officer, plays a predominant role along with the police personnel, along with the service providers, along with the legal services authority, along with the government doctors, so on and so forth. Look at the system. And look at the workplace harassment happening for women. No need to go to the police station initially. If you want, you can take the support of the committee and go. There is internal committee and local committee where women being predominantly the chairwomen, and she has a set of committee with men and women working for that. And we have the National Commission and the State Commissions for Women under Law. 1990, there was a legislation in this country wherein a Women's Commission, State Commission. Today, the part where I am sitting in Tamil Nadu, we have a new chairperson for the Women's Commission who herself was the former city public prosecutor. She was a lawyer herself who resigned her post to become the chairman of the Women's Commission today. So, Women's Commission is a quasi-judicial body. You can go there for any of the issues of women, right from the moment your womb to your tomb, a cradle baby till the last minute. Any women can go for any issues. It's a quasi-judicial body. It doesn't have the sting of a legal order or a judicial order, but still it is a place where you can approach. And you, of course, you have the legal services authority at the taluk, district, state and the national level, where any affected women can approach and your matter will be taken free of cost. Your maintenance or your sexual abuse cases, not your property cases, of course, when there is something involved money. When you are a woman, you are not able to fend for yourself. Not only women, children, transgender, any men below the poverty line, differently challenged, everybody can approach the legal services authority. Law is there. Society is also changing a bit. But one thing I see here is the lack of legal awareness for the last man in this country. I have undertaken to myself. I do predominantly like to work in my court halls. But nowadays, I have shifted from my litigation or mediation work towards the training aspects. My income in court is much more higher, very much more higher. Very less of pro bono work I do for the legal services compared to the income I earn in court. I used to earn. But down the lane, for the past 5 to 6 years, I'm into lots of training, getting connected with all the institutions, so schools, colleges, corporates, or the state resource center, or the police academy, or anywhere I'm being called to at least tell there is somebody to help you. There is a legal system. This is where you have to go. Don't be scared. Don't think that we are somewhere down compared to the other gender. Why do I do this? I do get a fame or a name. Of course, people know me when I come on the televisions, when I come on the platforms like this, an international platform. But my conscience says, my project is that, my NGO says that I have a motto to take law to the last man. Till it is possible for me, I have trained a set of trainers. Now and then I train them. So I do the training so that wherever you go, you can let them know. There was a client yesterday or day before on my alliance. She spoke from Germany. And in fact, before she called, her brother called, and her brother told, my sister is in trouble. And I asked the client, we are going to take an international call, who will be paying my charges? She told my brother will pay, right? I agreed for that. Okay, I sent a message to the brother. This is my account details. You post. I'll take the consultation. You take this postings and transfer my money. And I spoke with her. I knew she was in real trouble. And I gave all, a couple of times I spoke with her. I gave her the ideas, everything that you can safely come. So you work with the country where you are in, and you just work on it and you do it and come back. Then after finishing my work for her, I just said to the brother, have you sent me the money? I came a reply, she has to pay. You discuss with her on the ground. I was taken aback, so I didn't get pert up. There was a message from that woman. Ma'am, I'm a dependent, I'm in a deprived position, I'll not be able to pay. Then I sent a message, take care, come safe. I was taken aback. It's not for the money that didn't come to my pocket. No. She is left in a lurch. She has left her work and she has taken a baby. And she has gone there. They have a property here in India. The husband sitting there, taking hold of the child in the hand now, asking her to go and sell the property and give the money. So she can't even pay a little consultation fee to me because the person whom she is relying is the brother. Brother is escaping. It's between devil and deep sea for the women. Will she be having a good life coming back to India, depending on this kind of a person? A brother? I'm not accusing. His position, maybe he didn't have the money to give or some problem. It might be there. But I knew very well they didn't have that kind of issues. I'm telling, there might be people who are that way also. Will she has to fend for herself there? I do work on lot of, I have written many books apart from the one, it was there in the introduction. I present a lot of papers. Today I didn't present my papers. I didn't want this session to be a classroom session. So when I present the paper, it should be this section or this section. And with the technology, I have to go with. I wanted to speak my heart out. I just want to tell you what happening. I felt bad. It was very empathetical. Today, very many NRI marriages are at crossroads. It is not only the women, only the sufferers, men do suffer. It's not women. I don't support a gender. But here I tell you, my next project and next working is the NRI marriage is the crossroads. Because in the COVID-19 situation, there were so many domestic violence calls inland, that is India, it is coming in. But outside the borders, I was getting so many calls. Right now, I have a client from a particular corner of a country. She is well educated. But the way she has been fixed, she will not be able to come back from that country. Neither she'll be having a life here. That is the position they have. They are educated. Of course, they are very well educated. But out of the love and affection to a particular person, without knowing, they pledge everything to that person. This happens in the domestic sphere. Your domestic violence. Any physical, verbal, non-verbal, psychological, physical, that is sexual, or your economic, everything will be construed as a domestic violence where a protection office is there, and you get in that law a residential order, a protection order, compensation, maintenance, custody, everything done, and it's a civil law and a criminal court, and you get everything in camera proceedings or the order copy free, everything said and done. How will the women know that she can go there to get the justice? Who will teach this woman that she can work on it? Who will tell the women there is a legal service authority? You need not always go to a particular lawyer who gets lakhs and lakhs. There is something else being done. How will I tell the woman? Not every lawyer is going to give a consultation and go away without taking a charge. Maybe next time she will not give an opinion. So my junior asked me, maybe will you take the call of this woman when she comes the next time? Yes, of course, till she reaches India, I'll take her call. Because it's not the money that's involved. There is a woman with a child suffering elsewhere in a country where unknown country, unknown land. As a woman lawyer, I'm committed to my profession. I have to give her the support. Otherwise, she'll break down. That is the support the previous speaker, my sister, was telling, help the women in depression. Look at all your topics. Every topic is interconnected to one after another. Everything is interconnected. When I'm low, somebody of you will be helping me out. When you're there, I have to be there. That kind of connection to all women is necessary today. Very much necessary today. Then you come to workplace. Recently, I don't want to go into politics. It's a great institution. But recently, a top police official is telling that something of sexual harassment has happened to me. It's not the first time. I'll put a moot question. Who was the very first woman who told about sexual harassment to her, and this media, neither the media, the world didn't respond to her. That were way back in 90s. Find out her name. Today the scenario has changed. Previously, before Nirmaya's demise, the rape law was that if you are put on the box, the questions asked by the defense will not be able to be answered. Or rather, as a lawyer, we will not be able to sit as a woman to listen to those questions. Today, the scenario has totally changed. Don't ask about the character of the woman. That is not needed for the particular case. Even if into the sex trade, don't ask whether this particular thing is linked to that. Any woman has an honor. Even though she is into a prostitution, she has the right whom to go or whom not to go. That is the voluminity of the legislative support a woman has got. Acid attack was not a crime before. Nirbaya's demise has brought in acid attack as well into the legal parlance. 326A and 326B of the Indian Penal Code speaks of it. Stalking, voyeurism. What is stalking? Cyber stalking, you would have all known. Somebody following you. The cyberspace. Very same thing is happening, stalking a woman. When I was a student, stalking was not an offense. Today it's an offense. Somebody following you unnecessarily. It is an offense. Voyeurism. Looking into the private life of a woman, getting it captured, looking into the keyhole when they changes their dresses or using the restroom. It's all an offense today. Where should I go if there is a problem? Whom should I consult? Will I get justice? Is there law to support me? Every one of you here need not know this law because you are not going to be in that position. But somebody else? Anyone unknown? That is why I am telling that there are so many places you can go and reach. Of course, lawyers are costly, doctors are costly, getting a psychological treatment or getting a lawyer's help is very costly because that's their bread and butter. There's what kind of work you do. But it need not necessarily be always someone like me or anyone else to be paid heavily and come in. There is a system where you can approach. There are very many empathetical people around you to go and get connected with them. In the workplace, I'll tell a scenario. I go to so many companies, and one of the organization when I went, there was a woman who was just looking at my eye. She speaks only broken English. She is from Odisha. And she was telling me someone was looking at her daily with a kind of look which I am not able to bear. I do not know the local tongue. He is teasing me. But that person has a nervous defect where his faces go like this. It has a pull. Sometimes it looks real difficult to look. But I understood, but she was telling some truth. When I went to chair, there is an internal committee in the Sexual Harassment Act to prevent at workplace. The chairperson, I asked, no ma'am, he has a defect, she is not able to understand. But I do understand that she has been telling me the truth. So I asked the chairperson to have a video fitting from the CCTV cameras to me whenever he is sitting in front of this girl or when he is loitering. The chairwoman with a great thing, she called me because she refused that nothing was happening. Ma'am, in fact, he is teasing. The other places he has this nervous defect on the face. Some half an hour once here, every 3 minutes he was doing it. That shows someone who has a defect, using that defect, targeting a woman at a workplace. There's a particular woman crying. She's working in a factory. Her supervisor was asking a sexual favor. Denying that, she was denied to go to the restroom for 3 consecutive days. Is it coming under sexual harassment? Yes, of course. Your health and dignity will also be looked into by this legislation at your workplace. So there is lots and lots of legislation, my dear friends. The time is up. 5 more minutes. We can go in for the Q&A session now. If you call me and make me speak, that too on this legislations, you can have 3 days for me only to talk with a little break. I can teach you every legislation possible there for you. But time is up. Madam is there.
Yeah.
She has invited me only with a thing that caveat that I should finish off in time. I finished off in time. We have 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
I've been looking at my clock so that anyone can post your questions. Before I close, I'll take up the questions and then we will close.
Yes, ma'am. The question they have asked is how to form an internal complaints committee in a college and what is the redressal mechanism under the act. Just give us 2 3 points, ma'am. Yeah.
You have I presume you have an internal committee in your college,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
what the law says is wherever women are working or women are not working, wherever 10 people are there, women can come inside. That's how the law goes it. The senior most women will be the chairwomen. There'll be minimum 4 people. You can have 5, 7, 9, how many people? More than 50% will be men, women, and others will be other genders. And this committee is like a civil court. It's been appointed for 3 years, and this is appointed by your own people. The higher ups will be appointing, and there will be the external member in form of a woman lawyer or a person who is well versed with the law or with the social work working for the cause of women, attached with a non-governmental organization or an association like a women lawyers where I'm part of it. So this external member will be a person will be well versed in law. This is to prevent, prohibit, and redress. So if there is a committee intact, there are 2 committees under this law. One is the internal committee, and one is the local committee. For example, if your domestic help is facing a problem, then where will you go? Your local committee under the district collector. And again, this committee is for 3 years period, and after that, the committee has some more plus and minus with it also. It is confidentiality under section 16. Nothing will be discussed outside, and you have a compensation being given under section 15, and there is a malicious complaint provisions also under section 14. If a woman gives a wrong complaint, that is with a malicious intention with against a person who has not done the offense, she will face the same as per the rules or the standing orders as such. And she has a conciliation mechanism also inbuilt, where if in case you give a complaint and you want to withdraw it also, the law gives a provision, the duties of the organization, and you have working like this. And any organization, I'm there in many institutions and companies. Few have not, because my profile, I way back in 2017, I did this profile. After that, I didn't add anything to that profile. I'm such a lazy person, unable to add anything to my profile, and much more companies as such. If you have any doubt, come to me. Personally, I give a consultation. You can take that and you can organize one or induct one in your organization. Thank you.
There's one more question. It's from CR Selva Immigration. Would it be correct for me to say that the communication amongst family is the gap, GAP?
Yes, ma'am. Today we do not have that much communication. How do we communicate? I sit in my office room or somewhere, ask my husband at what time you want the dosa to be made, and my son will be telling from his room on the online classes which is going on. I'm not telling about the COVID situation, just for the fun of it. I'm telling that I'll be coming at this time. We are in the same home. He being a doctor, he'll be down in this clinic and telling me, or in his place or in his room telling me. This is not exactly the situation, but sometimes it do happen this way. When we were in a COVID-19 situation, we found sitting inside the room, we were apart. We were connected and disconnected. Today, the families are connected, but they are disconnected. Technology is in a way doing the trick, but by mentally we are disconnected. We are very much stressful. We are living in our own world. We do not have that kind of empathetic approach towards our own family members, our elders, our children, our women, like the age-old parents or parent-in-laws or the grandfathers and grandmothers, uncles, great-grand-uncles and aunts were having. Today we are connected in our own, but actually there is a lot of disconnection. That gap is not the gender gap. That gap is between the own genders, or that gap is not generation gap as well. That is, each same generation we develop a gap. And today, even inside the home, there is single parentage going on. There will be a husband and wife living together. The child will be connected with one father at a time and a mother at a time. So this has to have a change. So the family and setup has to have a different. So before marriage, there should be some kind of understanding given to the young couple so that their life will be good.
Right, very nice. Thank you, ma'am. Parneet, madam, she has given us thank you for the wonderful and informative session. Oftentimes, traditional behaviors are often used as an excuse to shut down the concerns that women have. That, of course, is a true, Pandit ma'am. As madam started from the very start of her talk, I think this was the one she said. Like women at the traditional part, how they are being, even when she gave an anecdote, she's a higher official, and then being so high official, when she gets into the home, what she is. You can see the another part of the person. Thank you. We have another person, Kamini ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please. You would like to ask some questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much, Adi Lakshmi ma'am. It was a great going. We really had a complete, as I know, because we have experienced her, even the earlier talk with her, she came out with the domestic violence. She just proceeded it, and we didn't have an end, and we didn't want it to end also. And today the time given for us is really, really very less. So we will have you for another session also, ma'am. As you said, we'll have for 2 or 3 days where we can spend on completely on the legal rights, which the people should know, or the women or the men, both of them should know about it. Thank you for being with us, and we would appreciate you by presenting a memento in the form of certificate of appreciation. Please accept it, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this nice opportunity. I thank every one of you who have joined in this platform, and thank this great institution, Guru Nanak College, where you have been doing excellent work. I have seen how the institution looks and how the faculties and the students are in person. So it is such a nice day for me today to join in with you, all of you sisters today. And thank you so much. I leave with immense satisfaction. I have done something which this message will be carrying forward. I accept your appreciation. This such a great appreciation. If I get the soft copy in my mail, I will print out and keep it as a memento myself. Thank
Yes,
you all.
sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you,
Sure.
madam.
Thank you very much, madam. Without further delay, we move on to our next speaker. And to introduce our next speaker, I invite Ms. J. Sharanya, Assistant Professor, Department of Honors, to do the introduction. Madam, please. Sharanya, unmute yourself, dear.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, all of you. Ms. Nalini Dubey is a highly qualified teacher with over 10 years of teaching experience in various schools. She completed BA in Osmania University, PGDCA in Hindi Prachar Sabha, Madras, B.Ed in CSJM University, Kanpur, and MA in Monad University. She served as an examiner on the ICSE Council for 3 years, and she has worked as a senior coordinator hosting multiple events of varying levels in institutions. She was a part of it. Currently, she is the principal of Shimford Heuristics K-12 School, Oraya, UP, and also a vice principal in Cambridge High School. She received the Best Principal Award for Dauber Immune India held at New Delhi in 2014. Today, she is going to speak about women education yesteryears and today. Now I request Ms. Nalini Dubey to start the session. Madam, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharanya ma'am. Dear friends, good morning to all the honorable gathering. Thank you for your invite to this impressive gathering. I appreciate Guru Nanak College for coming up with such a great step. I'm also thankful to my dear and close friend to have me connected to such a great forum. Thank you all so much. Today, as Sharanya ma'am had said, I'm going to speak on the topic women's education yesterday and today. Before I start, let me thank the two speakers who had spoken before me. It was such a motivational and inspirational speech, madam. Thank you so much. I'm really very much motivated with the speeches. Now, without wasting any time, let me continue with my words. Let me start with the famous Sanskrit shloka from Sri Bhagavad Gita, which goes, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. This shlok is from the holy book, as you all know, Bhagavad Gita. which means you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. What does it refer to? The topic. So, my dears, a woman nurture her kids, take care of her husband, do the daily chores of household, and also being independent for her own earnings. But still, whose name the child carry? Our education system had started capturing the mother's name in 10th and 12th mark sheet. So, this actually goes with all the women out there. Do your duties and never wait for the fruit of it. All of you who are connected today have an amazing story to tell, a story of hard work and of success. Some of you were the first women in your family to get a degree. Others could be first CEO of a company or first women president of any country. None of us were naturally expected in our roles. We had to fight to get there, had to defy conventions, traditions, and overcome obstacles of all kinds. And a lot of you had to fight and work harder than the counterpart colleagues. Education, my dear, has been formed and reformed since its inception. Women's education faced a lot of difficulties in form of oppression and opposition from the upper caste males for the fear of women becoming modern and educated to continue with their duties for their families and homes. I myself have come from Type A city, Hyderabad, born and brought up there, completed my graduation from there, and came to Type B city, that is Kanpur. In a joint family, living in a joint family, nurturing my own kids, I too stepped out of the house. Now imagine 31 years back, marrying in a North Indian Brahmin family and stepping out. That was just because of my education. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to do something. I wanted to achieve. I wanted to give my children a good education, a good bringing. I stepped out. And gradually, I keep on moving and climbing up the stairs from mere a teacher. Today, I'm the principal. So there's no obstacle which is going to stop anybody. If you have a will, if you have the power, then you can achieve anything. So women are no less than man in any way, in any form. Education is the key for women to achieve economic independence. Although women in most countries have the right to education, but equal access to education still remains a problem. An African proverb rightly says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Is absolutely correct, because men usually do not spend that much time at home or with their families. Therefore, if a mother is educated, she will teach her kids, who in turn will teach other people. An educated girl is more likely to become involved in the workforce and in turn bring economic stability to her family and community. In yesteryears, women faced barbaric and immoral practices at the hands of society. We all know how things were in the old days. The condition of women was very bad, very pathetic. And this barbaric and immoral practices included the practices of sati or widow burning. Another problem faced by the girls was rampant system of child marriage, which was prevalent throughout India. Women's education was regarded as unnecessary, dangerous, and unorthodox due to the prejudice against it. Now, here I would just like to bring my example. From Kanpur, I switched to Auraiya, a rural place. Now, today I feel lucky, myself to be very lucky. Working over there, I got to know the mindset of the people working over there. Till today, mind it, my dear friends, till today, the people in rural areas, they do not want to send their girl child to school. They are sending girl child to school till the age of, say, 8 to 10 years. After that, they do not want their girl child to study further. Still, the mentality of the people in rural areas is very difficult, very tough. I faced a lot of problems, but I came out of those problems. I fought with those problems. I convinced the parents that the girls are in safe hands. They are not going to be troubled. And in that rural area, I conducted karate classes only for girls. The karate classes was only for girls, and mind it, dear friends, I became successful, and from the second year, third year, girl children were flourishing like anything. So it's still we have to fight, we have to enter into the rural areas and fight for the right of the girls, fight for the right of women over there. Women's education was regarded as unnecessary, dangerous, and unorthodox due to the prejudice against it. This was followed by the Parda system. Yes, we had this Parda system, which was imposed of the women along with the belief that education of women was a total waste of money and resources, and it would cause additional cost to the family without any returns. They thought that teaching girl child is mere waste. Already the girls have to get married and go to other home. So why to spend money on them? It was also held that educating a woman lead to lack of help in the household. Yes, they thought that if the girl child is going to step out of the house, she's not going to work at home anymore. That is not true. I'm a great example of that. I did my household work, I nurtured my children, I went to work. The efforts made by various reformers started to show positive results, and hence, the first school to be opened exclusively for girls was started in Bengal in 1818, after which various schools were opened for girls. The first boarding school which was opened for girls was the initiative of CMS in Tirunelveli in 1821. However, one thing to observe here was that even though initiative was taken by the missionaries, yet the number of enrollment in these schools did not reflect the attitude of the Indians toward women education. Why? Again, there's a question mark. Because girls belonging to respected Hindu families were not sent to these schools for the fear of religion conversion. That time we had British rule, and they had started with the missionary school. So this was the fear in the minds of the people. In India, women have traditionally been confined to household work and taking care of the family. Patriarchy is the root cause. Many did not believe in educating women. Instead, a female child was seen as a burden, and getting married was the only foreseen future. Another reason why families shy away from educating their girl child is the lack of safety and security. Low income forced parents to educate only the boy child, believing that he is the only breadwinner for the family while the daughter stayed at home. Savitri Rao Phule and Jyotiba Phule were the advocates for women's education and set up an institution for girls in 1848. Women were participants of the freedom struggle. Such great step was taken by these two Phule sisters. During the time of independence, the female literacy rate was mere 8.6%. According to latest census, the female literacy rate is 65.5%. Though it has seen the rise, India has not met the world's average of female literacy rate. It is still lagging by 17%. Still, we have to work hard. Still, I think we need to enter into the rural areas to educate the people over there. Education is the backbone of society. It is not a privilege, but a necessity. I would rather extend this statement for quite some time. As education increases the potential of an individual, it gives strength to the women, as she would feed the same to the upcoming generation, which would lead to a better world altogether. In good old days, or might be still in some parts of the country, it is still there that a woman's place is in the household chores, which is not true, as the woman knows how to manage the household chores and how to utilize the education that she has been taught. Yes, very true. We know, if we are educated, we know how to manage things in and out. My younger sister, she is also a housewife. She is also having a kid. And she is also looking after, she is working in Aditya Birla School. She is also managing the house as well as the workplace very decently. Examples are many, but I would quote Mrs. Kiran Bedi, first IPS officer and former governor of Puducherry. She made the Indian Police Service changes in decision in matters related to traffic management, control over narcotics, and most importantly, VIP security. Hats off to Mrs. Bedi. Women now do not lag in any aspect of life with the other gender out there to be seen as any more deprived of anything. Not long ago, a Japanese woman, Junko Tabai, who is a housewife, scaled the Mount Everest, breaking all the society's stereotypes. Grand salute to you, ma'am. Women have proved today that they can do as much as men in any field if they are given a chance, and it is evident from the fact that all armed forces have women officers today. And in fact, in 26th January parade, a women commander, do you all know the name? Yes, Preeti Chaudhary, none other than Preeti Chaudhary, has led the battalion which was FES's first ever case. So proud. We are so proud. I am so proud to be an Indian woman. So, education for women is more imperative. India, for example, is trying to implement family planning, sanitation, etc. through education. Population increase or severe diseases occurs in illiterate families where both men and women are uneducated. Educated women can understand the need of a planned family as she has to manage all for the happiness of family, society, and the country as a whole. Vivekananda had said, The country that does not respect its women is a country that will never prosper. Dear friends, respecting here does not refer to just bowing in front of her and treating her like a maid, otherwise treating her like a maid. With these words, I may take as women is more respectable when she is educated. Respect the education, respect the identity of a woman. The National Policy on Education 1986, popularly known as the New Education Policy, is a magna carta of the education for the days to come. The new education policy has been designed to see that a national system of education is created and all imbalances and disparities are removed in all sectors of education. The main concern of this policy was about the status and education of women in the country. An educated girl will be more apt to voice her opinions, be involved in political and economic affairs, and empower other women to participate. Women's involvement in politics and the economy will bring more democratic processes to areas which desperately need political change. Here, I would really thank from the bottom of my heart and bow my head for Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, who has been an example and will be an example for all the women out there. Not only a politician, but a Supreme Court lawyer, senior leader of Bharatiya Janata Party, served as the Minister of External Affairs of India. In 2020, she was posthumously awarded the Padma Vibhushan, one of India's highest civilian honors. She was an articulate voice for India at the whole stage. First women Chief Minister of Delhi, first women spokesperson of the national level political party, first women Union Cabinet Minister. She became known for helping Indians stuck abroad. Only because of her did women in a traditional and conservative state like Haryana dare to come out in public life. The government over the years has introduced many schemes to promote women's education in India. Some of the programs are Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, Mahila SHAKTI Kendra. So the government rather has come up with such good initiatives. The right to education is granted to every Indian citizen. We need to ensure that learning is available for all and not leaving behind the females of the house. Spread of education in rural areas is equivalently vital as urban area, which would empower women all over. International Literacy Day is commemorated across the globe, including India on September 8th. This shows what the society or the world or our country wants is education for one and all. When we have gone internationally, then I would like to quote an example of a lady who has scratched the curve of this pandemic coronavirus and got the entire country free from coronavirus before any other was able to get the vaccine. My dear friends, do you know who the lady was or is? The lady, none other than, my dear friends, is the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, who is just 40 years old. This shows how well women can do their job if in position or given a choice. Here I would like to quote one proverb, one saying: darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. If we are going to put light, if we are going to throw light on the education of women, then nothing is impossible. Today, we celebrate our girls and all the influential women in their lives for overcoming the obstacles
इसमें अनुराग ये
and
सुनाई
pushing
नहीं दे रहा, कैसा करूँ? ये है क्या?
and all the influential women in their lives for overcoming the obstacles and pushing forward regardless of the circumstances. Good example is of Miss India runner-up Manya Singh. She is a very good example. In the words of Oscar-winning actress Lupita, a true Kenyan role model for girls everywhere. No matter where you come from, your dreams are valid. In the end, I would just sum up by saying it is time for change. Let's make it happen together. Before me, two speakers, two prominent women speakers, had thrown light on all aspects of a woman's life. It was such motivational and inspirational speech. It's just, I'm very honored, very thankful to my dearest dear friend Radhika for bringing me up on this platform. I'm learning a lot from this platform. Before I could sum up, I'll just end with a famous quote again in Sanskrit, which says, Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devata. If a woman is educated, if a woman is given the chance to learn, to get education, then there's nothing that can stop her. Then there's nothing. It's not that if a woman is stepping out of the house, she is going to overlook her responsibilities of the house, of the children. No, it is not there. People have to think about it. People have to learn this, that as they are working, even the women has the right to get education and the right to work, step out and work. With this, I'll just end up my speech. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for inviting on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nalini ma'am. We are very
Thank
happy and feel very, very proud to have you amongst us. And you have thrown light on the education state of women in rural areas, in especially in North. And you set as an example as a successful woman who fought against the rights which were denied. Ma'am, we are really moved by your powerful speech insisting on the right of education for women, and of course giving a lot of interesting and live examples who play as a role model in different areas. And if they were being given a chance, a position, what difference a woman can really do. We all feel proud to be a woman, ma'am. Thank you, Radhika ma'am, for
Very true.
introducing
Thank you, ma'am.
such an eminent person amongst us.
Thank you,
Uh,
ma'am. Thank you so
Ma'am,
much.
we are very happy to appreciate and express our gratitude by presenting a certificate of appreciation. Madam, please accept it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really very honored. Thank you.
Thank you. Present. Sorry, just a small hiccup. Yeah, there you have it. A certificate to Nalini Madam for being an invited speaker and sharing her expertise in this 2-day International Virtual Women Day. Thank you so much, Madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm so very much honored. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Ma'am, for being with us. And I don't have any words to express my happiness, and the way you deliver it was awesome to the core. I'm deeply honored to have you amongst us today. Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Radhika ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you, Shreya Mastravanya ma'am. Thank you.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Next, moving on to our next speaker, I invite Madam Jeevaratnam Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to introduce our next speaker to the audience. Madam, please.
Good morning, everybody. It's my great pleasure to introduce Madam Michelle Jose as a resource person for this session. Madam Michelle Jose is an experienced project manager in the automotive field. She holds a Master of Science degree with a specialization in production engineering and management from KTH Royal Institute of Technology, Stockholm, Sweden. Madam has worked for nearly 6 years as project manager for some of the biggest names in the transportation industry, such as Scania, Volvo, and Alstom. She is currently managing one of the biggest and most prestigious projects within the rail industry. Besides work, her passion lies within women empowerment. At Volvo, she joined the Women's Network as a member and soon rose to the position of deputy chairperson for the network at Volvo, Sweden. Amidst other things, she is an avid traveler and an amateur singer. She loves to pull a chat just about anything under the sun, and she loves a good laugh with a penchant to make other laugh. We are very happy to have such a nice personality amidst today. Madam, with this brief introduction, I welcome you on behalf of our Women's Forum to address our gathering. Madam, please.
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone. Shall I start presenting? So, just a minute. I'm trying to present here. This seems to be. Is it visible?
Not yet. Yeah, it's come back.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes. So, hello, everyone. And almost a good afternoon there, and a good morning to myself. First of all, sorry about the lighting. It's just that the sun is still sleeping here at this part of the world, so it was difficult for me to have more light around over here. And thank you so much, Jeevaratnam ma'am. That was very kind and some wonderful words about me. You've all been listening to some excellent and eminent speakers over the past 2 days, and they are professionals in their field and who have put years of research into those topics. So I feel truly honored to have been invited to give a talk in this conclave. So once again, thank you for this honor. So as introduced, I am Michelle Jose, and I live and work in Stockholm, Sweden right now. So the topic that I have chosen today is one of my passionate topics. It's women empowerment. So I would like to start this talk with a small story, and imagine that someone is telling you this about an incident that has happened in their life. So what is the story about? The story is that a man and his son, they were in a car accident. Unfortunately, the man died on the way to the hospital, but the boy was rushed into surgery. At the surgery table, the surgeon says, "I can't operate because that's my son." How is that even possible? So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to leave this slide and I'm going to give you a couple of minutes for you to reflect on how you would react when you see this story over here. Yep. So what is it that I shall be talking about today that is going to add value on top of what you have been listening to for the past 2 days? It's about the topic that we've all been hearing. We've seen it on print media, we've seen it on visual media in more recent times, and it's quite prevalent. And that is the topic of what we have for this conclave as well. It's women empowerment. And for the people who've been listening to this for the past 2 days, you know that Dr. Shyamala yesterday had presented on this, and she gave an excellent presentation. I completely was inspired by her presentation, so thanks to her. I have stolen with pride what she had mentioned about women empowerment. So what really is this women empowerment? So according to the European Institute for Gender Equality, it is a process by which women gain power and control over their own lives and acquire the ability to make strategic choices. So now let's just split this into 2 sections. One is women, and the other one is empowerment. I don't think we need to explain what women means, but when it comes to empowerment, what really is empowerment? So when you say you're empowering someone, it means that you're giving authority to enable someone to gain their potential and to gain their power. So when you say that you're giving authority, who is the one who owns the authority? And who gives that authority? And if something is given, isn't that time limited? So that's why I believe that true empowerment is a self-initiated process, and it's something that you have to take control of. Someone else cannot do it for you. It is what you are responsible for. And someone else can help you enable the process, but not give you the authority. As women, we all are daily faced with many hardships and many struggles, and we are all aware of it. I don't need to go into the X amount of issues that we face daily. And I could show you 100 reasons, but I have only 30 minutes with me and not a full day session. So one of the topics that I would like to discuss about what hinders empowerment and development in a society. This topic was an eye-opener for me when I was first acquainted with it. And I hope it inspires and is an eye-opener at least for a few of you who's listening to this topic today. So according to neuroscientists and psychologists, one of the key factors that hampers empowerment is unconscious bias. So this is one of those topics that I will be talking about today. What is unconscious bias? And what does it really mean? And what are the different kinds of unconscious bias that we have in the society? So now that I have told you this word, for those who don't really know what it is, you might be wondering, what is this fancy word that the scientists have coined together and put together? What really is unconscious bias? It really is, in simple layman terms, it is a stereotyping of people or a group of people that we as individuals form outside our own conscious awareness. So why do we have this? Do we all have unconscious bias? How does it affect our decision making? And is it that bad after all? Or is it fine to have it? So let's dig deeper into this. And I would like you all to look at this picture. This is how our brain processes the plethora of information that we get every single minute. So on the left, you can see the amount of information that flows into our brain, like from print media, visual media, digital newspapers, your social media platforms, your chat conversations, your WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, your conversations with your friends, your social circle. So it's like you can see on the left side, we get a lot of information into our brain. So what a brain does is it processes all of this, it analyzes, it makes a kind of pattern, and then you have a shortcut that your brain is taking. So this is how our brain is processing different kinds of information that we receive. Yeah. So now let's start with the first two questions that form the crux, which is, why do we have this? And do we all have unconscious bias? So we as individuals, we are as unique as a snowflake. And that means we are made up of different thoughts, we're made up of different beliefs, we're made up of different values. So your life story, it is a combination of your upbringing and your connected value system, along with the values that you imbibe and gets appended based on your unique life experiences. So they can be your friend circle, your relatives, your neighbors, and in general, your entire social circle. As human beings, I can tell you that one among the many things that we have in common is unconscious bias. So that's a positive, that we have something in common, regardless of gender. And this simply means that we either favor or we dislike a person based on what our brain is telling us to do. So that our brain is actually processing and looking at someone and thinking, okay, can I like this person? Can I be friends with this person? Or can I communicate with this person? Or, nah, I don't like this person. Let's just move forward. So why is our brain doing this though? This is because, as I said, we have so much indentation of information just at the click of a button, and it's through different channels. So with this abundance of information, how is our brain going to process every single time and then help us make a decision? We need decisions every single time we choose to do something, like even picking a piece of paper. So every single time you want to pick a piece of paper, your brain cannot process and think, okay, you can go ahead. So that is why our brain, based on patterns, what we've seen, like repetitive actions, they form patterns, and then it assesses the situation quickly and gives you a decision based on what your life experience has been so far. So that's why the brain takes shortcuts. Otherwise, you would get tired with just maybe 1 hour of work. Yes. And now with that, I want to go back to the story that I showed you in the first slide. I'm guessing maybe a few of you have already figured out what I was talking about, why the surgeon said, I can't operate because that's my son. So it's good for you if you have figured it out, but I'm going to tell you what happened or how I reacted when I first saw the story. I was like confused. I'm like, what? How is it even possible? The father is dead. What are they talking about? Is he lying? And that's when it took me a couple of minutes to catch my unconscious bias. So when I got aware that I am being biased here, that's when I realized that, oh, obviously the surgeon is the mother of the boy. And this is because my brain was so used to a pattern of seeing a surgeon as a male. And so my brain is connecting a surgeon with a male. And for me, that was it. And that's why I thought, okay, the surgeon is a male. And you know what the irony is? One of my auntie, she is a renowned doctor. So that was a big eye opener for me on how my brain is biased. So now the next tricky question. How does it affect our thoughts and decision making? Are we being biased always? Are we taking decisions based on our biases? And that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. So here I'm going to introduce you to 3 different types of biases. I've chosen 3. There are many, and you can read about it. So I have chosen these 3 because it is more relatable and for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. So the first one is conformity bias. So what is conformity bias? So this is when we force ourselves to conform to the general accepted views. And this is our brain's shortcut to please another person or to please a group of people. So, in other words, we are not exercising our own judgment. Let me give you an example here. So, in this picture, you see that there are three people who jump into the pit without even thinking. You know why? Because most of the times we think that if it's a general view that is being put out there, then that is the view that should be right. And maybe I shouldn't talk back against a view, even if I have another viewpoint. If I can give you an example that is more relatable, in a group discussion, have you ever been forced to say okay to a viewpoint that is generally being discussed, just because your friends have a certain opinion about that topic, but you in your mind know that you have something else that you would like to express, but just because you want to conform to what is being said in the group, you end up saying yes, or you just agree to what the others have been talking about, the majority of the group. So what really happens? Isn't it okay to conform to norms? I would like to say the consequence. So the consequence is that we are creating an environment where we are devoid of another opinion. So what happens is, so how do you think innovation happens? Innovation happens when one individual probably thinks outside the box and they are confident enough or they are strong enough to say that, you know what, let's try something new. Let's deviate from the norm. So that's when innovation happens. So if we keep conforming to what the general viewpoint is, then we're creating an environment that is devoid of opinions, and we don't move forward as a society in that case. So we are hampering the possibility of creating an environment of innovation and other views. On the other side, there is another researched topic, as well as it is a fact that we women, we have a dilemma called double bind. And this especially is the case for women in leadership. So what this really means is that when a woman achieves a position of power in an organization, like for example, a senior management post, or a senior manager, or a senior financial officer, or a senior HR, for example, in order to conform to her peers, which is predominantly male, unfortunately, even today in this day and age. So what they do is they end up saying things like, oh, I'm not like other women, I'm different. So why do they do this? They do this because they want to, conform to the norms. They want to show that they are equal to their male peer. So what they really do is they're trying to put other women down in the organization, someone who is in the same stature or someone who is below them. And I don't even have to tell you what the consequence is. So when someone in power is going to be passing that kind of a statement, that is debilitating for all of the women in the organization. And then we become responsible for propagating the bias against women. So this is what is called the double bind dilemma that we face in leadership. And it's not that women do it on purpose, it's just because they have struggled so hard to lead, to come to that position. And because of their bias, they are pushed to say to their male peers that we are not like other women, we are different, we are not weak, we are not soft, we are good leaders. Because just as you all know, there are so many stereotypes against women, and one of them is that we are not good as leaders. So we are pushed to say things like that, which doesn't make it right. Yes, and now I step into the second type of bias that I would like to present today, which is the affinity bias. So now what is affinity bias? Affinity bias means that we favor people or even dislike people based on familiarity with physical characteristics. So it could be, someone who looks like you, or even other characteristics like someone who speaks the same language or someone who's gone to the same school just as you. So you have a kind of a bias towards that person. You want to, be nice to that person. But if it's someone who's probably studied from a rival school and who's come to your college or to your class, you would probably have an initial disagreement, or you would not like that person. So that's what I'm talking about, affinity bias. Over here, I would like to give some personal examples. So my name being Michelle Maria Jose, Jose is a very Spanish Portuguese name, but I'm very much Indian. So what happens is, there were colleagues of mine who have been in contact with me through mail conversations and through telephone conversations, and they would assume, based on my name, that I am from Spain, or I'm from Portugal, or I'm from Brazil. But when they see me physically, like after a couple of months, when they meet me physically, they would be a bit disappointed, and their approach and the way that they talk to me would change. And by the way, this has nothing to do with racism intention nowhere. It's just that their brain created a pattern thinking that, okay, so she must be from my upbringing, she must be from my culture, let me be talking to her in a certain way. And maybe, it's a kind of a favoritism that you have to a person that you presume is from your background. So that was why they, wanted to act in a certain way, and they did act in that particular way. So this bias is also creating issues. And now I would like to show you the picture over here for affinity bias. As you can see in the picture, it's a room full of men who look similar, who've got beards, who've got, wearing their green sweaters. And they're wondering, why don't we have any fresh ideas around here? And this is quite common when you see in an organization when they keep hiring people who are similar to who they are or to who they see in an organization. So this is one common issue that we do see in organizations, which unfortunately the HRs or the managers who are hiring have within them. So this is what happens when you have an affinity bias. You end up choosing candidates not for their merit, but you end up choosing candidates based on how they are, how they look, or if they have any familiarity to who you are and to your upbringing. So now, with that said, I'd like to challenge all of you. I just want to know, or can you think about it, how many of you have actually put the effort to befriend a person, someone who's not from your state, someone who doesn't speak your language, or someone from not from your culture, someone whom you can easily relate to? How many of you have actually put the effort for that? Like, as I said, you are limiting your thoughts, like how we see in this picture, by not talking to others, by not creating a network. And trust me, you never know who's going to come in handy to help you at what point in your life. Maybe, who knows, you could probably be starting a business, or you could be starting a company. The head office could be in Chennai, but you could be having a branch in, say, Kanpur or Mizoram or Vijayawada. So I would say, please be open, and this will only create avenues and expand your network. And the third bias that I would like to present here is the most famous, the most common, and the most well-known bias over here, which is the gender bias. So on this topic, yesterday, Dr. Shyamala had presented excellent slides, and I hope you've all listened to it. So if not, I would recommend you to please go back to yesterday's talk and listen to her. So I don't want to be digging deep into it. I just want to give examples over here, which has happened to me, and so that you understand a bit more, and I just want to make you ponder on a few things. So this is a very interesting picture. I thought about it a bit before I actually put it in here, but this has happened many a times, so I just wanted to put it out here. And I can give you many examples from my life, but the most prominent one that I can tell you is that I'm a mechanical engineer by education, and I worked as a mechanical engineer as well for 4 years before I took up project management as my profession. So as part of my profession, I need to do presentations, and quite many presentations. I am leading one of the biggest projects in Sweden right now in the rail industry. So in a in a room filled predominantly by white male, and I would be doing the presentation, I would be leading the meeting. But for instance, if there's a question that comes up about a design, about a product, or even about the project, people would turn first things first to my male colleagues who are as competent as me and who are as experienced as me. And I would be the one who's leading the project and leading the meeting as well as providing the project status. So this is one of the most common kind of biases that I have faced in my career of these 10 years. And I'm guessing probably at least a few of you would have experienced this kind of a bias. So another instance that I would like to put out here is I'm guilty of committing it as well back in my undergraduation days. Why is it that a male professor gets more respect than a female professor? Let me explain. So have you noticed how it is much easier and quicker for a male professor to actually get attention and to silence a classroom compared to a female professor? Is it because we believe that a male professor is more assertive, so he's more knowledgeable and he has power? But a female professor, on the other hand, is a bit more softer, she's a nurturer. So maybe she's weak, yeah, I don't have to give her so much respect, and maybe our brain is connecting it to knowledge. Think about it. Why do we do this? Why is it that a male professor and a female professor who's equally competent gets different kinds of respect? And one last question that I'd like you to ponder upon. Have you ever wondered why when a man chooses to partake or just even offers to partake in household chores, we shower them with praises? Oh my God, what an open-minded person he is. How helpful, how nice, how kind. And we shower those kind of praises on a man who just partakes in regular household chores. But on the other hand, if you're going to see a woman or a girl or a lady who picks up, say, a hammer or a plier or a screwdriver just to fix a nail in the house, on a table, or maybe the mixer grinder, and then we're like, don't be like a boy, don't be like a man. What are you doing? That's a man's job. And you have raised eyebrows and sarcastic comments passed. So why do we do this? Why is one particular kind of job fixed for men and another kind of job fixed for women? Yeah. So based on these three, I would like you to tell me, well, you can't really tell me right now, but you can think about it. Is it really good to have this kind of biases? How is it helping us? Is it really helping us? Do we even need to have this? Why do we need to have this? Is it going to benefit us in any way? And what are the consequences? How is it going to hamper my decision making and my thoughts? So now, since I have said that everyone has unconscious bias in common, you might be wondering, well, what can we do about this, huh? I have been fortunate enough to have enough time and also enough literature to be reading up on this topic. And as has been mentioned, I was also chairperson of the Women's Committee at Volvo and currently as well in my workplace. So that gave me a lot of time to introspect and to look into what is really happening within me. And what I realized is, as much as I'd like to be a neutral person, an egalitarian, treating everybody equally and thinking of a man, yeah, it's okay with household chores, and a woman is okay with professionalism, with work and everything, I cannot really deny the fact of the thumbprint of culture and the experiences that I have on my brain. So what I'm trying to say is that, yes, Though I have been reading up a lot on this, I'm still a work in progress myself, and I do catch myself once in a while exhibiting these kind of biases. So this is a few tips from me on how I help myself to deal with these biases that I have within me. And this might help you as well. So what is it that we can do? First things first, slow down, think, and query your first reactions. Why do I think of someone like this? Why am I behaving like this to this person? Why do I have this kind of reaction to this person or to this situation? Why am I thinking of this group of people in this particular way? Question yourself. That is the first step of you identifying that you have these biases. So before you have a reaction to someone, slow down and think if you can justify those reactions. Secondly, be aware. Be aware of yourself. Think if you are doing it because you want to do it, or you're doing it because you want to conform to norms. So once you start questioning yourself, once you start looking into yourself, you will find answers. And trust me, most of the times you can sort it out yourself. So now these are the 2 points that I had for the 2 major points that I had for how to tackle with unconscious bias. And now moving on to how we can empower each other. Firstly, be a visible champion. Talk about your achievements. And by achievements, I don't mean that, yeah, well, I've graduated with honors. No, small achievements. Talk about your achievements. Talk about your friends' achievements, your acquaintances' achievements, your relatives' achievements, your cousins, your peers. It could be anybody. We need more people to talk about achievements. Remember how I told you that the brain makes patterns based on what we see and what we hear? So the more we hear, the more we see about women's achievements, the more our brain is going to connect the words women and success, achievements, career, professional, all those things on top of household, home, nurturers, soft, children, family, life. So it's more of the pattern that you need to create in your brain so that your brain immediately knows that, okay, you know what? A woman can be a rocket scientist. And you know what? A woman can choose to be a homemaker as well. It's totally up to you. But be a visible champion for anyone's achievements, yours or for your peers. Next thing, speak up for yourself or for your peer. So when you speak up, that is when your mind is thinking. So when you speak, most of the times your mind is thinking. So when you think, you are also introspecting. You're looking into yourself. So once sometimes you put out a question out there, and don't you think, why did I even say that question? Why do I have this thought? So the more you speak, the more dialogue you create, the more there is a dialogue in the society, the more questions arise and the more people start thinking. And that, I truly believe, is the fuel for change. The more dialogue you have, the more people introspect, and that is a fuel for change. The next very important thing, don't let anyone box you under titles. And by anyone, I also mean yourself. We have this habit of putting ourselves as we are so, we are weak, or we are strong. We are bold, or we are scared. Don't think about these titles. Just be you. Just be yourself. There is no better way to be at peace with yourself. Real empowerment comes when you are at peace with yourself, when you truly believe that you like yourself and you are going to live the way you like it, as much as you like it. So be you, be yourself, and try to self-embrace. That is the key to empowerment. And over here, I've also mentioned we fear too much for our own bad. So what I'm trying to say here is, this is very much science-based and it is the truth. I'm going to put it out there. Men fear as much as women do. They are scared before they start something new. They're scared before an examination. They're scared before an interview. They are human beings as well. They do have all these emotions running through them. So they are equally scared. The only difference, though, is that they don't question themselves so much as we do. They don't question their self-worth. They don't think 1,000 times, before, should I do this? Am I good enough for this? Am I eligible to get this promotion? Am I good enough to apply for this college? Or am I good enough to apply for this job? They don't question so much as we do. They do question, they do have self-doubts, but not as much as we women do. So shed the fear. I'm not going to say that because we are all going to have fear. It's good to have fear. But stop questioning yourself too much. Stop questioning your decisions. Just do it. How harmful can it be, after all? And now, this is to all the men in this talk who are attending. I noticed, I was looking at the attendees list, and I saw a significant number of men who have attended this talk. And this is to you. If you have noticed, I haven't used the word women after the first slide. This is because I believe that this applies to everyone. And I also believe that we have to help each other. As I said, you can be a champion for your mother, for your sister, for your friends, for your peers, for your acquaintance, for your social circle. It can be anybody. So we need to help each other out, to self-embrace and to empower each other. So before I wind up my talk, one last exercise. I hope I've not bored you with too many exercises, but this is also a very interesting exercise. It's just a small game that you can have with your brain. It's good to trick your brain once in a while to see what it really is thinking. Your brain has it's a personality on its own. So yes, let's do this test. It's called Flip It to Test It. Like, for example, if I were to tell you, like, these are two different stories, and the first story is that Mr. Ambani, who is the CEO of Reliance Industries, he gets emotional. He tears up during an interview because he's reflecting on how his family life has taken a toll because of his, business and because of how he needs to run it, and etc., etc. So when you read the story or when you hear about it in the news, would you still consider him as a good leader for the Reliance Industries? Would you think that, oh yeah, he's a emotional man, he's showing his emotions, which is good? Or would you think that, nah, why is a man, getting emotional for this? His duty is to actually run the business, and it's Mrs. Neeta Ambani's job to take care of the house. On the other side, let's flip it. If I were to tell you that Miss Indra Nooyi, she's the former CEO of PepsiCo, she gets emotional thinking about how her family life has taken a toll because she's been in the business for long. Would you still consider her leadership a good one? Or that she is emotional, she's vulnerable, she cannot handle pressure, and she showed her emotions out to the media? Would you still consider her to be a good leader? How would you assess this situation? And as I said, we need to ask our brain a few things. We need to flip what we are used to seeing. We need to change the patterns and to see what is it that we really think in our minds. What is it that our brain is giving out the information? And for that, we need to pause. We need to think. We need to be aware. And maybe you all are doing a great job of being unbiased. But what are we going to lose by just trying out, by flipping it once in a while, and just playing games with our brain? And this is the last slide. I'd like to quote one of my favorite English writers, and this is her quote, Mary Wollstonecraft. "I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves." And I'm a person who truly believes that each one has to empower themselves so that we become a better individual, we become a better version of ourselves, and in turn, we create a better society. So with that, I would like to thank you all for listening in. And a special thanks to Miss Sharanya Karthik.
Yeah, mute. Yeah. So with a big round of applause, we are very happy, and thank you, Ms. Michelle, for having presented the entire 2-day thoughts in one common topic, as women empowerment, and especially throwing light on how the thought process need to be redefined in gender bias society. Thank you so much, and of course, we
Thank
know
you so
that
much. It was my honor.
we know people very busy, as we say, women are right in been placed in so many arenas where they are in, but being busy enough, every individual, every speaker thereby, but then spent their precious time to be with us, and of course, with to appreciate and very happy to express our gratitude to you by presenting a certificate of appreciation. Madam, please accept it.
Absolutely, with all pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me take the pleasure. Parneet, madam. Okay, I'll read it. I'll read it. We have Parneet Kaur, madam, who has given us her feedback. When people are confronted by the bias they hold, they often start giving various explanations. How does one address such a bias? Madam, maybe a question to you, Michelle, ma'am.
Yes. So that is something that I guess that is a defense mechanism. Again, when we are confronted with any question, as a matter of fact, the first response that we have is get defensive. You know, no one likes to be pointed out and said, "Yeah, you know what, you are wrong." So the first response is get defensive. Have this kind of defense saying that, "No, I'm not wrong. It's your thought process that's wrong." But it is good that you confront them because though the immediate response is to get defensive, they are going to think about it. Trust me on that. The minute you confront someone, the immediate reaction mostly will be to get defensive. But after some time, when they have calmed down, they are going to think about it and they're going to be like, okay, am I really being biased over here? So at that moment, probably they will not listen to you. But afterwards, they are going to change, at least a small little change. I truly believe also another thing that uh, small droplets make an ocean. So small droplets, we start small. We cannot make a huge change within a day. So once you start confronting people, which is appreciable, I would hugely appreciate you for confronting people then and there when you face with such biases. And I truly believe that that is going to help change people's mindset. And one person changes, they're going to be talking about it. They're going to act differently the next time to you or to someone else. Someone's going to see it and then they're going to be like, okay, why is that person acting differently and nicer right now? Probably I need to change as well. So the minute you confront, they're going to think it's a fuel for change and they're going to be like, good. So I would say go for it, confront people. And that is the dialogue and that is the fuel for change that I was talking about in one of my slides.
Thank you, ma'am. Parneet, I think madam will be satisfied with what she answered. Thank you. Ma'am, you have presented it? Question is coming up. We have one more question, madam, for you.
Yeah. Why were the witches killed in millions by religious men? I hope by witches you mean women here.
Rishi?
Rishi, I hope. Could you please? Okay, then I get it. So, what impact did that mass killing generate in today's men and women's unconscious mind? So, very good question. So, what happens when people are killing each other? This is also a bias that everybody, I think, has against women. And when you say women over here, I'm going to talk about witches, which means that they were possessed by demons, and that's why they were called witches. The impact that this has created is that, unfortunately, when a woman tries to talk against the social norms or what is acceptable social norms, when I say acceptable social norms, now you have to think about the different societies. So I have been in the Western world I've been in Europe basically for 11 years now. So what the thoughts over here, the belief system here is quite different to what we have in India. So in India, especially, what has happened is this has given the power for both women as well as men to act erratically to women who talk again. So if there's a commonly accepted viewpoint, and if a woman is going to be talking against it, as to maybe, why should I be doing this just because it's a common practice? Our unconscious bias is automatically going to think, okay, this woman is talking rubbish and she's not talking sense. She's not sticking to the norms. So let's tell that, she doesn't, she's been possessed by demons, and let's just ostracize her. So there are many women who talk against these common societal norms and who don't conform to the common societal norms, which makes them be ostracized in the society. And sorry, that word is tricky for my tongue. Ostracization happens because of these kind of biases that we possess. I hope I have answered your question. So to put it in very simple layman terms, I would say that yes, we're giving right for men and women to harm another woman who doesn't stick to common society norms.
That was very nice, ma'am. Thank you, Michelle, for being with us today. And to conclude this two-day international conclave, I invite Dr. Uma Devi, program convener, to propose the vote of thanks. Madam, please.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am. A very good afternoon. Of course, Vanakkam, Namaste, and Sasreka. I, Dr. Uma Devi, and Ms. Radhika take the pleasure to thank our respected General Secretary and Correspondent, Mr. Manjit Singh Nair, for his continued support in conducting various events. We thank our beloved Principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan, for his diligent support and constant encouragement in the conduct of all Women Forum activities. We wholeheartedly thank all the dignitaries, deans, heads, staff members, and students of GNC and institutions across the globe for actively participating in the two-day International Virtual Women Conclave on the topic Women Empowerment and Gender Sensitization in the Current Era. My sincere thanks to Dr. V.P. Nedunjelian, Dean Student Affairs, Dr. L.R.S. Kalanidhi, Vice Principal Student Affairs, Dr. N.C. Rajshri, Vice Principal Shift 2, for their cheerful presence, soothing words, and constant appreciation for the smooth conduct of the two-day International Virtual Women Conclave. We also extend our special thanks to Advisor Madam Dr. Malin Morais and Harlin Kaur Madam, who encouraged us by her wishes for the success of this program. We are happy that there was an overwhelming response from the participants registered from all over the globe. Indian participants from pretty much from all state universities and institutions have taken part in this. We express a very big thanks to all the participants. Virtual Women, International Virtual Women Conclave brought limelight to the knowledge and expertise of the eminent speakers in this particular two-day conclave. Day one was empowering young women through counseling by Ms. Monica Ganesh, Ms. Parvati Nagarajan, a herbalist at Chandikulam Forest, on the topic Ecology and Women, Dr. Shyamala Devi, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, University of Madras, Chennai, on the topic Sowing the Seeds of Women Empowerment by Unlearning Gender. Dr. A. Geeta Lakshmi, a gynecologist, registered garment KGH, Joint Treasurer of OGSSI, had in her topic Screening for Cervical Cancer and Become Your Life's Master. Today we visualized with the first start of Miss Satya Sundaram, a business analyst, who spoke on the title Balanced Lifestyle, followed by Miss Adilakshmi Lodamurthy, advocate on the topic Social Status and Legal Rights of Women in India. We had another eminent personality, Nalini Dubey, principal, who focused on the women education yesteryears and today. And at the end, we had a very close ceremony where it beautifully ended up with Miss Michael Maria Jos, project manager from Sweden, on women empowerment in 2021. We thank all the resource persons who spent their entire time and effort to make this event a grandeur one. We thank all the deans, heads, and staff members who inaugurated the sessions by welcoming the speakers, introducing the resource persons, and of course, proposing the vote of thanks. We also thank all the participants who expressed their views and gave positive feedback at the end of the sessions. We thank the Media Center for their technical support in conducting the event in the Global Meet and give a live relay in the YouTube. We appreciate and thank the organizing committee members for their kind cooperation in conducting the event in a very smooth way. A special thank to the Plant Biology and Biotechnology Department head Dr. Gopi and his team for providing us support in displaying the program live in their laboratory, which was viewed by more than 50 students. We thank the entire departments, mentioning there were few from BA Defense and Strategies, MSW, and all the other departments who really made the students to go for this live program in their respective classes. Thank you so much. To highlight some of the institutions which were from, of course, all the places, all the districts from Tamil Nadu. We had principals who were visiting from Punjab, and we had people from Aurangabad, Maharashtra, Mumbai, Maharashtra. We had from Karnataka, Mangalore University, SRM University, Tellar, Tirupattur, Jamal Muhammad College, Hyderabad, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. We really enjoyed presenting to you this two-day conference or conclave, and hope you all enjoyed the entire proceedings of the two-day virtual Women Conclave. Thank you for being with us and sharing your thoughts and views and your opinions. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Uma ma'am. Before that, before giving an official close, we would like to honor and express our gratitude and thanks to all the organizing members who were with us for the entire conclave. So first and foremost, we would like to present our appreciation to Dr. M.K. Shakila ma'am for being with us and introducing Monica Ganesh ma'am. Next, we would like to thank Dr. Tamilchelvi ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Shift 1. Yeah, Shakila ma'am has come. I think we can present ma'am's certificate again. Yeah, Shakila ma'am, Dean Management, was there with us, and we expect your support in our future events too, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah.
Always, thank you. That was a fantastic experience to have listened to the eminent speakers. It was great. It was an eye-opening session. It was very interactive. I should appreciate the Women Forum for having come up with this program. And please do contribute more in a similar fashion. And we expect one more program on the herbs, as you all mentioned. Please do train us on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah. Next, I would invite Tamilchelvi ma'am also to say a few words, and it's a great honor, and thank you for your support, ma'am, for being with us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Radhika and Dr. Madhavi. It's a very wonderful presentation. I open for everyone regarding this women empowerment. We go beyond this, and definitely you have to continue this type of programs in future also. My hearty wishes to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your honor also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Here, we would like to honor Madam Anita Malishetty, Joint Control of Examination and Head Department of BPA, with all her support, and we wish to her and request her to extend her support in our future events too. Madam, please accept our honor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's always a pleasure to be associated with the Women's Forum of our college. We've got a galaxy of personalities these 2 days, and we had a host of information which you have shared with us. Thanks a lot, and I would be very, very happy to be associated with this team of vibrant women, faculty members, and students of our college. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Here, we would like to honor Dr. Chitra ma'am, who is always with us in all our programs, and we again request her to join us in the future programs too. Thank you, ma'am. It is a great honor to have you with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm happy to be a part of this Women Students Forum, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And next, we would like to honor our organizing team, also committee, who were with us right from day one. Right from day one, they were supporting us, and I don't know how many of them are there. First and foremost, I would like to thank Madam Guru Lakshmi ma'am for being with us fully for this event and arranging all the invited speakers and being with us and always for this whole event. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's a great honor to have you.
It's like, she's presenting her own certificate.
Presentation. Yeah. Yeah. No, ma'am. Yeah. Please present. Yeah. No, ma'am is presenting her certificate. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Super. Yes, sir. Yes, next we would like to present next certificate to Dr. Mahalakshmi ma'am, who is always with us. We too means then third person is always there with us in all our activities, and we would like to honor her also for being a part of our organizing committee. Mahalakshmi ma'am, please accept our appreciation and honors, ma'am.
Actually, the Women Students Forum was doing a wonderful job. More than 100 viewers you can see in the YouTube that all over the world are viewing this program. If you see the feedback itself, it is a motivation for the Women Students Forum. You have to do a lot more programs like this. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Sharanya, ma'am, who is always with us. And it's a great support from Sharanya, ma'am, for all our things. Sharanya, ma'am, please accept our appreciation and continue your good work with us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. This was an awesome program, and we all enjoyed. Even students also enjoyed. So we would like to continue for the forthcoming years, ma'am. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. Here we have Dr. Kavita, ma'am. All these certificates, what all we are presenting, ma'am has been a great support for us in doing all the activities silently. She is a strong supporter for Women Students Forum. So as an organizing committee, she has done a great job, and we would like to appreciate her also. And I think ma'am must be on her way because she comes from very far off place. So she must be on her way to college. So thank you, Dr. Kavita ma'am, for being with us. And Jane ma'am, thank you very much for being with us. And it's a great time we had. And whatever we say, every one of us in the organizing committee, they readily accept that. That's a great thing which we have. And that's a coordination that we have. And we are very happy to have them. Yeah, next we would like to honor Madam Gayatri from Plant Biology. She's the one who has designed all these brochures, and Madam has was there in spite of a busy schedule in research and other things. She has been a constant supporter for us. So it's a great appreciation from our side, from Women Students Forum for Madam. Thank you very much. Thank you, one and all. Over to Uma, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite some of the audience who would like to share their views. We request the audience, it may be students, staff. people from corporates. If you would like to express, you can just open up. Yeah, we have. Yes, madam. This is an advocate. Do I read it as advocate? AD.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, madam.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is
Good
Advocate
afternoon.
Uma Pillai from Mumbai.
Oh,
And
great.
excellent. Today I just joined in from morning 9 o'clock. It was an excellent session by all the speakers and fantastic. And we have gained lot of knowledge. Thank you so much for encouraging us also and giving the sharing the thoughts from all the part. Excellent. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. What a wonderful feedback. It really regenerates us and motivates us to do still more better. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have some more people from various other states also to share the thoughts? You can put it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself. I would like to have the feedback from the students part of it. It's a forum where you can, actually express things. We'll be happy to accept it. Parneet ma'am, if you're there. Rishi, Prasanna. I could find few names. Riyaz. Vinod. So thank you all. Meet you next time with even more a grand event to be organized, hopefully offline. And we invite you all from various states to visit Guru Nanak College and the Women Forum event offline. Welcome you all and thank you.